There are 6 breakup types that I've seen from working with people going through breakups over the years, and we're going to go over what those specific types are and what you can do to reverse the breakup if that's something that you want to do. Hello, my name is Clay. Welcome to this channel, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, so the first breakup type that we have today to talk about is called the fizzle out. And this is what happens when the relationship just kind of like fizzles out. The connection just sort of fizzles out. You know, people get kind of caught up with things. They get caught up with work. They get caught up with day-to-day life. They get caught up with, freaking out about whatever the latest thing is in the news. There's been a lot of those over the past 2 years or so, hasn't there? But the connection just sort of fizzles out because life gets in the way, because people prioritize things differently, or because people get caught up under, work deadlines or stress or things like that. And it just causes the whole relationship to fizzle out. This is obviously caused by things being sort of out of alignment. And what we want to do is we want to get back into alignment with the kind of connection that we want. So this may require you to reprioritize certain things in your life, or to do other things like that. But the most important thing here is to really just focus on connecting on a deep emotional level. If you can focus on that connection, then you're going to be doing what you can do to really reverse this fizzle out breakup. This is why we do talk so often on this channel about advanced relational skills. You can go ahead and find a whole playlist on those right up there. But these advanced relational skills are a great way to, go ahead and rebuild that emotional connection after it's been eroded over time by things like, stress and work and the end of the world. Hey, it's 2022, and all that sort of stuff. The second breakup type is called the toxic blowout. It's a very high drama kind of scenario here. Obviously there could be things like fighting, there could be things like arguing, in like really bad situations. It could result in some sort of abuse or something like that. But really there's just a lot of really high drama here in this kind of situation. And, obviously I don't want you to be in an abusive situation or anything like that. So if there is any kind of abuse, like, hey, like let's recognize that, hey, there's some incompatibility here, and, maybe just, move our lives in a different direction here. But the thing here is that we want to really realize is that there's something deeper going on beneath the surface, rather than just whatever it is that you're fighting about, or whatever it is that you're disagreeing about, or whatever it is that the drama is about, or anything like that. We want to look at what this is. Now, is this something, that's totally workable? Like maybe someone just doesn't feel seen, they don't feel as if they're being made a priority, or something like that, because of maybe, some priorities that just got shifted around, or something along those lines. Or there could be something else totally not so great going on, like, maybe someone has a personality disorder, like maybe they're a narcissist, or maybe they're borderline, or maybe, something else is going on, in which case, hey, we gotta get real about that and start to look at what might be going on there. But when it does come to personality disorders, those are very, 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 very difficult, if not impossible, to actually shift. And I want to make it clear that, like, if your partner has some sort of personality disorder, it's not on you to fix it, okay? It's not like if you were just more loving or more compassionate or more caring or anything like that, then suddenly they wouldn't be a narcissist anymore. No. They're going to always be that way, and you have to accept that. And if they do want to grow or something, okay, fine, that's on them. Maybe they will grow, but you want to actually see some real tangible changes being made, not just a lot of good talk. Because anyone can put on a good talk in order to, kind of get things back to normal. But you wanna see them actually making some real substantial progress when it comes to all of this. But anyway, all of the personality disorder, mental health stuff aside, when it comes to all of this, what I think can be really helpful is, of course, also advanced relational skills as well too. but also just having some good relationship building skills. You know, I've talked about this before, but there's some important things that come into place when it comes to having a strong relationship, like being on the same team, having clear communication with one another, building trust and consistency with one another, and things like that. And the third breakup type is called the rebound. Now, rebound relationships are really, really common these days. They were fairly common when I first got started back in 2009, and they've just become more and more common. There's a lot of reasons for this that we don't necessarily need to go into in this video, and there could obviously also be some sort of emotional unavailability issues going on when it comes to rebound relationships. In fact, most rebound relationships are rooted in some form of emotional unavailability. A rebound relationship can be really tricky because, number one, they could have been warming up that person before they broke up with you and basically monkey branched from your relationship with them to the new relationship. Or number two, it could just be a reflection of some sort of emotional unavailability. But either way, you know, if you want to save that relationship, you're going to have a lot of impulse, a lot of really drive to try to focus in on that relationship and try to, you know, analyze how it's going. Like, are they doing well? Are they getting closer? Is it falling apart? All that sort of stuff. And you may even feel compelled to kind of insert yourself into the situation as well, too. You know, talking down the other person. Oh, they're no good for you. They're a terrible person. You should not be in a relationship with them. You know, look at them. They did this. They're so shady. They did that. All that sort of stuff. And that's not what you want to do, because when you do that, it's obviously going to look like you have some sort of stake in all of this, and that you have your own ulterior motives, which, you know, admittedly you might. But what you really want to do is you want to pull back your focus on what you actually can control, which is yourself, and also to a certain extent the connection that you have with your partner. So don't worry about the rebound per se. Just focus in on you, keeping yourself out of damage control mode, focusing in on yourself, focusing in on how you're connecting with your partner. That's the most important thing. Keeping yourself out of damage control mode. Did I already say that? I might have already said that. And also just making sure that you are living your best life. Because when you do this, you're demonstrating to your partner that, hey, we have a strong connection here. And when they start to feel that strong connection, they're going to want more of it. Also, additionally, you know, this is none of your business, but as you start to connect well with them, then their rebound is probably going to start to become very insecure about the fact that they're spending time with you. And that can cause them to do all sorts of jealous kind of things, insecure kind of things, which, you know, are ultimately going to be sabotaging that relationship. And, you know, if you or your partner, who would you rather be with? Someone who's easy to connect with, someone who's cool, relaxed, and easygoing, or someone who is controlling and jealous and insecure, right? Not too hard to figure that one out. So that's what's really important, is to be focusing in on the right things when it comes to all of this. Breakup type number 4 is the static cling. And this happens when one person in the relationship becomes a little bit too needy, a little bit too attached, and they don't really give the other person the space that they need, the space that they might want or desire to, you know, live their own individual life and to, you know, do whatever it is that they need to do to be a whole and complete person. Now, obviously, we want to encourage our partners and ourselves to be whole and complete people, but there is something that happens with some people sometimes called enmeshment in a relationship, or fusing in a relationship, where people start to, you know, give up parts of themselves for the sake of being in the relationship, and then you end up with this sort of not so great, I wouldn't necessarily call it toxic, although it's not so great, of an environment for two people to be in. And so what you want to do is you want to recognize, like, okay, were there parts where we started to get fused or enmeshed in that relationship? If so, how can I work on differentiating myself and encourage my partner to differentiate themselves as well too? Maybe I need to, take on certain hobbies or something. I mean, they're saying today is like the lowest low tide in 100 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but that looks pretty low to me. Apparently it's a great day for beachcombers and people that look at tide pools and stuff. I mean, I don't know. That's not my thing, but hey, if that's your thing, that's great for you, especially if you're using it as a way to differentiate yourself from your partner. But can you find things that are interesting to you, friendships that are interesting to you, hobbies and passions in life, etc., that are interesting to you, and encourage your partner to go through things like that as well too, so that they can differentiate themselves from the fused dynamic in the relationship. And then, of course, obviously, usual bread and butter stuff like good relationship dynamics, being on the same team, communication, and trust are always important, as well as advanced relational skills. Anyway, next up we have the blindside breakup. Now, this is the breakup where you just didn't see it coming. Now, most of the time when I talk to people, they knew that it was coming, right? They could feel that there was something that wasn't working, and maybe they knew that things weren't the best. Maybe they didn't think they were as bad as they were, but they knew that something wasn't working. And so it didn't really come as too much of a surprise. Maybe they're like, hey, I knew we weren't connecting a whole lot, but I didn't know we were actually going to break up. That's not the blind side. The blind side is when it's like, okay, I thought we were just living this perfect, wonderful relationship, and then I just came home and you were just gone. You just took everything and you were just gone. Or you just told me out of nowhere, hey, let's break up. And I thought that we were having this great, wonderful connection and relationship and all that. That's what the blind side is all about. Now, usually this isn't just going to happen by itself. So there's probably some sort of warning signs that were going out that you just were not picking up on for one reason or other. So I don't know, maybe there's some aspect where you kind of need to have a little bit more present moment awareness to be able to tune into what's going on in the moment. Or potentially maybe your partner just wasn't really very good at communicating things and talking about things with you, and they just kind of kept things to themselves. In which case, okay, that kind of tells you a little bit more about their character. Is that something that you really want in a partner or a relationship? I don't know, your choice. But there's also things that you can potentially do to kind of see if that truly is their character. Like you could encourage them to open up and talk to you a little bit more directly about things rather than holding things in, and see if they're open to doing that. If they're not, okay, we now have a clearer idea of what their character is, all that sort of stuff. But blindside, you really want to learn more about why it actually didn't work out. So you might have to talk to them a little bit, get a little bit curious with them, all that sort of stuff. Ask them some questions, or maybe do a little bit of soul searching yourself. Like, hey, was I just not tuned in? Like if I think back, oh yeah, maybe a month ago they were telling me that there were some major problems. They were trying to work things out with me or sit down and talk with me or something like that, but I just didn't listen because I was, too focused on something else, or I whatever it might have been. I don't know. But you may have to either talk to them or look back on the situation and do a little bit of a post-mortem on your end, okay? And then the sixth breakup type is what we call the echo breakup. Now this can be really tough. The echo breakup is when you break up with someone, or they break up with you, and then that's its own type of breakup, and then the two of you get back together, and then a short period of time later, a couple weeks, couple months, whatever, the two of you break up again, and this could happen 2 times, 3 times, whatever. But an echo breakup can actually be pretty common, especially if the main reason for the first breakup was never truly resolved. And I'm telling you this as someone who's been through an echo breakup myself. I have my whole story about how things between me and my big ex didn't work out and all that. And we broke up a few times. I'll go ahead and link to my whole personal story right up there if you're new here, you don't know what it's all about, or you just have some curiosity about hey, what did Clay go through? It's a tough one. And, you know, every breakup is going to have its own reasons. So we want to address those. But just know that you're also going to be going up against a higher level of reactance, because the breakup or the relationship didn't work out that first time, so the two of you broke up, and then it didn't work out the second time as well too. So they're going to be a lot more skeptical, a lot more hesitant about trying to work things out, you know, a second or third or fourth time than they would if it was just, you know, one breakup. So we want to be mindful of that, and you want to know that, I mean, it's not impossible to overcome something like that, but just know that you're going to be dealing with a greater level of skepticism or hesitancy on their part. It just means you have to be willing to get through a lot of that reactance and to really focus in on the emotional connection and to correct whatever's out of place there in that whole dynamic there between you and your partner. Anyway, if that's something that you want some help with any one of these breakup types, I'd really recommend you check out our email newsletter. It's over at modernlove.life/newsletter. There's also going to be a link to it down below this video. It's totally free to sign up, and you're going to get a lot of tips and information and help about how to make things work with your partner. Okay, so please go ahead and sign up for that. Also, all of this stuff that I've shared with you in this video is kind of the tip of the iceberg for a book that I wrote, you know, several years ago called "What Really Went Wrong." It's over on Amazon. You can check it out. I think it's like $3 or something like that right now. It's not very much, but you can go ahead and check that out. There's a link for it down below as well too. I don't really talk about the book very often because, you know, it's you know, let's be honest, $3, it's not going to pay too much bills. It might get me a cup of coffee or something once in a while, but it's not going to pay too many bills. But anyway, with that being said, thanks so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.